Today we're going to start making that list of triggers for your past experiences that causes some triggers in your day-to-day life, and kind of review what in vivo and imaginal exposure would look like in and out of session. Okay?
Okay.
So basically what we're going to do is make a list of triggers 1 through 5, 1 being the least severe and 5 being the most severe, the most triggering, the one that makes you super, super uncomfortable. Okay? And basically what we'll do with that is you will go one by one, least to most, and outside of session you will take the trigger and expose yourself to it. And then when we come back to the following session, we'll review it and sort of go through another version of exposure where it's the two of us together and us talking about the exposure, just because talking about it is exposing yourselves to the trigger, right? So we will definitely do that in session, but if there's a trigger on the list that you expose yourself to outside of session that is triggering but is gradually becoming easier and easier outside of session, we can still talk about it and then use the imaginal exposure technique to work towards the next one on the list. Okay, so let's start by making a list 1 through 5. Do you have some ideas of what you want to include on this list?
Yeah, I think so. I've been thinking about it.
Okay,
kind
good.
of since last time.
Okay, what are you thinking for number 1?
So like I told you, when everything happened, like we had football on the TV while we were eating dinner, and like my friends and I love going to football games. That's something we did like in college and stuff. And like I've watched them before if they're on the TV, but like it definitely makes me uncomfortable and like kind of flashes me back to that night. And like I've done it before, so I feel like it's a little bit like less severe, but it still like definitely makes me uncomfortable, and sometimes I have to like leave and it's like kind of hard to explain to other people why. And like my friends want to go to a big football game back at our school like next month, so I feel like that's something that I want to try and work towards early.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So I would say watching on the TV and even going in person. So watching and attending a football game. And that's a great place to start because like you said, it's not super triggering right now, but it does impact you. And it is impacting you right now, and you still have that hesitation of going to that game in the next month. So that is definitely something that we can work towards right now. We can start this session if you'd like once we're done. But like I said, great place to start because it's not as severe right now. Okay? Number 2, what are you thinking?
I would say kind of like loud noises in general.
Okay.
But especially like when people raise their voice, even if they're just like messing around, like I kind of like wonder what's gonna happen next.
Right.
So
does this happen when you watch like TV as well or shows?
Yeah, like if there's like fake fighting or stuff.
Okay. So loud noises. Specifically yelling. Okay. Okay.
And then like that night we were eating dinner, and we were eating Mexican food from this place by my house, and it's like on the route that I take to come home, and I just like haven't really been able to drive past it or like eat there, and like I find myself going out of my way to like take a different route and stuff, which like I can do when it's just me, but when it's other people driving, then like I feel like I don't always really have control over that. So it is like kind of a pain because sometimes I have to go like all the way around, you know?
Right.
So.
Okay, that's a great idea. Eating and driving past Mexican place. Okay. And has there been a time before where you have driven yourself past this place and you've experienced that high level of anxiety, or when you're in control of where you're going, you automatically just avoid it at all costs?
Yeah, I just go a different way.
Okay. So normally when you're out of the control of a car and you drive past this place, that's when you also feel that intense trigger.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 2 more. What are we thinking for number 4?
And then I'd say kind of going along with driving, like police sirens. Like when I hear a siren and have to pull over, like I can't really start driving again. I have to pull into a parking lot or something because I just like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't really even feel like I'm there. I just feel like I'm like back witnessing the fight again, and like hearing the sirens coming and like hearing him yelling and knowing like what was about to happen.
Yeah.
And so it's like I just keep picturing that happening again and again.
Yeah.
And like you never realize how much you hear the sirens until something like that happens.
Definitely. And it makes sense. You connected police and sirens to this event, and it's extremely distressing. So it makes sense that it creates like a physiological reaction. So that's definitely a great start. You said sirens. Does that also include police officers as well?
Yeah.
Sirens and police. Okay. Okay. And number 5.
And I guess like I'm not really actually sure if I want to do this or not.
Okay.
But like I haven't seen my dad since, and I don't know if I actually want to talk to him, but like I feel like even the idea of seeing him kind of freaks me out, but I feel like in order to move past it, I want to like feel like I'm done, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So like my mom's always asking me to go visit him, and like so
Okay.
like maybe, and I don't know if I want to or not, but like maybe doing that.
So you mentioned not knowing if you want to or not. Is it because it's super distressing, or is it because you feel like you're obligated to maintain a relationship if you do go and see him?
I think kind of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes total sense. So in terms of the trigger, that's why we're kind of starting small, and just because we're working through this doesn't make any of them easy. So I think it's a great idea to put it down, and just because we're doing that and you would go see him does not mean you have to maintain a relationship with him if you don't want to. This is simply just kind of reintroducing yourself into his presence and kind of bringing you back to that place to show yourself that even though he made you super uncomfortable, you can still be safe with your own self in his presence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So do you want to put that down? It's okay if you're super uncomfortable with that.
Sure.
Yeah? Okay. And so we will go through all of this at your own pace, very progressive. We don't want to move on super quick because we want you to feel entirely comfortable and motivated to move on. If one trigger makes you super, super uncomfortable, it's going to be hard to find that motivation to keep going. So it doesn't mean we stop exploring that trigger. It means that we keep exploring that trigger until it becomes less and less distressing. Okay? So we should start with number 1 this week before our next session. And I believe there's a football game on this weekend.
Yeah, there is.
So what do you think would be the most ideal plan for you with starting with number 1?
I think maybe like my friends want to get together and watch it.
Okay.
Just at one of my friends' houses, so maybe like I know it'll be on, but I don't have to like sit down and watch it because we'll just be at her house, so I can like move around if I want.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe that would be a good start.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Especially if you notice yourself becoming super uncomfortable, definitely if you have like an expectation, you can always reduce the expectation. Or on the opposite end, if you notice it's on, but I'm not entirely uncomfortable, I encourage you to push yourself to give yourself your attention more to the game so that we can start working towards not only being in the same environment as it, but also watching it and not having our past sort of cloud what's going on presently. Okay, so I like that plan. It's a great idea to start that this weekend. And like I said, if you notice, just kind of reflect with yourself. Tune into what your body's telling you. And if your body's saying, hey, I'm doing okay, try and push yourself a little bit more. And it can be for 3 minutes, for 5 minutes, however long you want. And as long as you're not becoming super dysregulated and super distressed, I encourage you to keep going. Okay? And then next session, we will talk about the experiences that you had and kind of in a visual way, kind of reflect on what your mind was thinking during that time and how your body was reacting while watching football or being in that environment in the first place. Okay? And we will only move down this list when you say the word. So if you feel like you're ready to explore number 2 after exploring number 1, that is totally your decision, okay? I want us to move at your pace and your comfortability. And if that means we're doing this for 3 weeks, we do it for 3 weeks. If it's shorter or if it's longer, that's totally okay. It's your process, okay? Do we have any other questions before we wrap up today?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.